Rolling on here with some inside word on the upcoming NBA draft. Nice enough to join us. NBA draft analyst for NBA.com and HHQ Sports, color analyst for NBA TV, Krysten Peek with us. How are you today, Krysten?
I'm great. I am in California. I'm calling some high school games during All-Star weekend. I'm currently at my sister's house right now, which is why I'm sitting in the kitchen. And then I was just at Illinois, saw Katon Waggler. I saw Mikel Brown's 45-point game. So, I mean, I know Sacramento King fans, you guys are hurting, but I promise you the end is near. This draft class is incredible.
At the very top of the draft class, there's a lot of talk around here about Darren Peterson, who looks when he plays well, not even when he plays great, when he plays well, he looks like, wow, that's the best player in the draft. But people are concerned about, he's not playing some games. He missed the last game, flu-like symptoms. He's been sitting out. Is some of that perhaps, Krysten, just a little exaggerated? Should we be so worried about that with a guy that good?
No, you should not be worried. I've been covering Darren and calling his games at the high school level. I've been to Kansas several times just for practice in the preseason. I was at the BYU Kansas game where he had one of the best first halves in all of college basketball. So you see that. And there were several NBA GMs there. Sam Presti was there. The Indiana GM was there. Brian Wright from the Spurs was there. Sean Marks from the Brooklyn Nets was there. So just to see that glimpse of what he can be. I mean, I think people are overthinking it. I think if you're a Kansas fan, you wish that he was healthy, but these are real injuries. I know he had a hamstring issue. I know, he had problem with cramping and then rolled his ankle at Texas Tech and then just got sick. But people need to remember Kyrie Irving only played 11 games at Duke and he was the number one pick. And Darren Peterson has played 13. And you said it, like when he is at his best, you see that greatness and why people are still projecting him as the number one pick.
There we go, Alan.
Krysten, when I talk to my buddy Whitey over here, he continues to say, Alan, this draft is so incredible. You'd pick in the top 5, top 10. There's a guy for you. How safe is this draft? Everyone keeps saying how good it is. Top 5, top 10. How many potential whammies are there in this draft that might look good, but could end up maybe not being quote unquote bust per se, but maybe not as good as advertised?
Listen, this is my favorite draft class in the last 10 years. I think the talent at the top is completely stacked. You have your different tiers. Of course, you have AJ Debansa, Cameron Boozer, Darren Peterson, and Caleb Wilson is kind of that top tier. And then you got someone like Katon coming out of Illinois who just came out of nowhere. And Katon Waggler, of course, and Kingston Fleming's what he's doing at Houston. And so you want me to name a bust? I can't do that. Like there's so many dudes, especially in the top 10. And, you're not going to see those older players taken very early. I want to say maybe the first upperclassman that's going to be taken is either Yaxel Lendenberg, who's one of the best players playing for a top team like Michigan, or LeBaron Filan, who's just going off at Alabama. He could have come out last year, elected to return, and he's really helped himself. And those are still, really, really good players. So you want me to name a bust? Like, I don't know. It's not that easy. Like maybe 2-3 years ago, I would have said I could have had some guys for you, but in this draft class, I've been looking forward to it for so long, and there's so many NBA GMs and scouts that have. Like after this, it falls off a little bit. So if you're going to hit on this draft, this is where it counts.
Krysten Peek sharing her draft expertise with us, draft analyst for NBA.com. I know you mentioned Katon Waggler, and I know you just watched him, Krysten, from Illinois. Why has he been rising up the draft boards?
It's unbelievable. I mean, you look at him and he's very, very similar to not what Tyrese Halliburton is right now, but what Ty was at this age. He's got that great frame at 6'6". He still needs to work on his body. He knows that. He needs to put on some weight. But what he did in the last 2 games, first against Michigan State into overtime, he almost won it for them in that overtime. And then I was at that who'd they just play? They just played Wisconsin. They lost in overtime to that game. He had 34 points. Illinois only played 6 players. They'd have Kylan Boswell is out and Andrei Stojakovic is out. So they only played 6 players. Katon Waggler played 46 out of 47 minutes in that game. And when you look at it, he was a top 100 player, top 100 recruit. And when I talked to him at practice, I said, do you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, similar to what we're seeing with Caleb Wilson, how he's keeping receipts and he's taking it to be? And he said, no, I'm here to show that there are different paths to the NBA and I am in the right situation. Illinois has surrounded him with a lot of perimeter shooting. So that just spaces the floor. And what are you going to get at the NBA level? More floor spacing. So he's kind of in the perfect scenario, and he's kind of creeping up into that top 5 pick. And of course, he leads all freshmen with points this season in terms of breakout games. He had 46, in a game last month. So he's showing that offensively, he's getting good looks and his great reads off the pick and roll and shot selection.
Yeah, Krysten, you brought up Caleb Wilson. We saw the news come out today about his hand. Are you hearing anything specifically about that injury and how long he could be out?
I mean, he just posted a photo on his social media with his hand in a soft cast, and he's being very active, responding to people who are saying, oh, North Carolina fans, I hope you enjoyed it while it lasts and you don't take it. And he said, it's not over yet. So in his mind, I mean, he's already teasing, like, maybe I could come back, like, depending on what our postseason looks like. But man, he has just been so incredible. That Duke game, what he did in the first half, the turnaround jumpers from the corner, and then afterwards, going out and partying with all of UNC fans, like having the belt up, like he is just, nobody is enjoying their 1 year in college more than Caleb Wilson.
Krysten, I wanted to ask you about Cam Boozer. A lot of fans around here. It looks like, from what we can tell, it looks like the Kings right now themselves are very high on A.J. Debansa. A lot of fans obviously see that. They share that view. They're high on Darren Peterson, as we discussed. Some fans have their questions, we'll see. But very few fans that I'm hearing from, seeing, are really high on Cam Boozer. There's a notion around here that Cam Boozer's a safe pick, but he lacks something that the other two may have. I know he's not even 19 yet.
I know.
Do you think that's fair? I mean, how good of a pro does Cam Boozer look like he could become?
It's crazy to me in any draft year that we are talking and looking at Cameron Boozer as a potential 3rd or 4th pick. This is the winningest player in all of high school basketball. He won 4 straight state championships at Columbus High School, 3 gold medals for Team USA. He won 3 Peach Jam titles, 15, 16, and 17U, and they were national titles at Geico or at Chipotle Nationals last year. He is a winner. He's doing that at Duke, but he has the highest floor and not the lowest ceiling, but it's almost like NBA scouts and executives, they know what they're getting in him. And when you look at Darren Peterson and AJ Debansa, AJ 6'9", potential shooting guard, and what he does in that mid-range game, you cannot pass up on what those two can be. Darren Peterson, I'm not ever going to say it. People are throwing around crazy comps for him, which is so reckless. And I'm never going to say that. I'll call him more of a taller Brad Beal. But what he projects, like I was talking to somebody else in our industry, and he said, listen, the future of the NBA, for me, Victor Wembanyama and then Darren Peterson. Wow. They think he's going to be that special.
Krysten, I know I asked you about potential whammies in this draft. What about sleepers? There are some people out there the Kings traded into the first round last season. Who are you seeing at the bottom of the first round that maybe Kings fans could get excited about after they get A.J. Debansa?
Dalen Swain at Texas has really started to come out, and he's blowing up a little bit. I thought Braden Burries would kind of be in that back half, but he has been incredible during league play. I was at the BYU game where he was just awesome offensively. And you didn't know what was going to happen with Jaden Bradley in the backcourt and the number 1 team and what sort of offensive touches he was going to get. But he's really come along. And the only thing that's going to hurt him, I think, is the fact that he's an older freshman. He's already 20. He turned 20 in October. But when you're looking for bang for your buck in the back half of the first round, I think those two players are really making a name for themselves.
That's Krysten Peek, NBA draft analyst for NBA.com. I'm going to ask you now, Krysten, to do something I call punctuating the prospects. So let's take A.J. Debansa. Can you give us his biggest exclamation mark? Like, this is the main thing people are excited about, and a question mark, the biggest area of concern for A.J. Debansa right now as a prospect.
The biggest exclamation point is his mid-range game. He can get a shot up over anyone. I mean, that Texas Tech game, there were maybe 3, 4 that were collapsing on him, and he's able to rise above. He's also super competitive, and he's a great defender. He can defend positions 1 through 4. The biggest question mark is still his three-point jumper and how consistent that can be. Creating off the dribble and also in catch and shoot, it's been kind of like his Achilles heel for the last 2 or 3 years, but we're seeing some progress in that.
Mm-hmm. And you project him as a guard, right?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to end up being a 2. And, you look at the NBA game, it's all about spacing. And if you're a perimeter player and you can read, ball screens and DHOs well on the defense, which he does very well, it doesn't matter if you're a 2 or a 3, but he can play any position on the perimeter.
Krysten, obviously a lot of people are bringing up the tanking conversation, and I've basically said I don't know how bad it's going to be moving forward because 2026, this draft class, is supposed to be legendary. Now, when it comes to the 2027 class, I don't know that is the same conversation. You could answer this in the most positive way you feel fit. But I'm going to ask you the question, just how bad is the 2027 draft class supposed to be?
It's not terrible. You got Tyron Stokes, Bruce Branch reclassified up, Bruce Branch III. He was the top junior in the class, along with now Marcus Spears Jr. is, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, I think the only reason people are saying, oh, it's terrible is because of how monumental this class is. But Tyron Stokes is a very good player, 6'8", point forward. He's playing with J.J. Crawford, Jamal Crawford's son, and Jamal is coaching him at Rainier Beach. They just won a playoff game, but Tyron Stokes is very, very good. Bruce Branch is very, very good. Jordan Smith Jr., oh my gosh, the best two-way guard in all of high school basketball. He's making his college decision on Friday. He's either going to go to Duke or Arkansas. Those are what many believe are his final 2. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not as outspoken about oh, this class sucks. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's just looking at how much star power is in this class, it kind of is a little underwhelming.
Mm-hmm. So Krysten, as you know, the Kings really need a centerpiece at some point. They're hoping to land one here. Right now they have the worst record, which would mean they would pick no worse than 5th. If they end up picking 4th or 5th, do they, in your view, still have a decent shot at landing a true centerpiece in this draft?
Absolutely. We haven't even talked about Elijah Arenas, who has come back at USC, and he's really starting to figure it out. He hit the game winner at Penn State. In the last 3 games, he's averaging about 26 points per game. And so he's someone that I think that not a lot of people are talking about in that second tier, but has great positional size. Of course, his dad, Gilbert Arenas, has that NBA makeup. A lot of NBA teams like these legacy kids, and Elijah's 6'6", 200 pounds. And he's someone that I think during the pre-draft process could start climbing up draft boards.
Krysten, we've seen this, I guess, transition into these bigger ball handlers, Denny Avdia. Luka is Luka. But what are you seeing in the recruiting and college ranks when it comes to how pure point guards are evaluated right now? Does it matter if you're the best point guard out there, but you're under 6'5", does it matter to the same way it maybe used to matter, 5 years ago?
It's a lost art. You're absolutely right. And when I mentioned Jordan Smith Jr. and Caleb Holt is another one, I mean, those 2 players that'll be in next year's draft class, they have the cards stacked against them because of their height. It doesn't matter how well they're dominating at the high school level. Darius Acuff in this draft at Arkansas, he's arguably one of the best point guards in all of college basketball, but because he's a little undersized, it's hard to translate to that in terms of what we're seeing with the bigger players because they have to guard them or at least guard them off the switch, and so you got to really kind of hone in. And that's why we're seeing like Katon Waggler come at, even Kingston Flemings has good, Mikel Brown, 6'4", has good size, can hit the 3, create that space. And so I think that's the biggest question mark. If you are a true point guard, we're going to see it next year as well. Deron Rippey Jr., the Duke guard coming in. And what he's going to be able to do. Yes, he's going to be fantastic at the college level, but how does this game translate? Not everybody can be the next Chris Paul. You got to be able to look and project for your franchise later down.
It's NBA.com draft analyst Krysten Peek. My last one for you, Krysten. Speaking of point guards, if I'm not mistaken, you saw Mikel Brown Jr.'s big outburst.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was wondering if you could tell us about that.
Oh my God, 45 points. And I was with his mom. We had lunch and I said, you know what? I think I think Kel's gonna have one tonight. And she goes, he needs it. He needs it. And then I went to NC State shoot around. They looked awesome. And I'm like, this is the best I've seen this team. And I'm like, oh, maybe it won't be this game. And then it came very, very clear that he was hunting those shots. He had 10 threes. He tied most threes in a game in Louisville program history with 10, and he tied the scoring record with 45 points. He broke the ACC freshman scoring record with 45 points. And it was such a fun game to watch. And it was at home, and everybody was just like all behind him. And as soon as he hit that 45, I mean, they called a timeout, subbed him out. And, when he came back and the media is trying to play it cool, and he's like, well, my teammates were just finding me. They were encouraging me. But you could tell, like, he was excited to have that moment.
Yeah, keeping the conversation about point guards, we've been going back and forth about Darren Peterson as a primary ball handler, point guard. I know Anthony Edwards has been brought up, where the Timberwolves kind of need a point guard, but Anthony Edwards also has the ball a lot. Do you see Darren Peterson as somebody that could play point guard, or would you find him in a situation like Anthony Edwards where you might still need a point guard, but he's going to have the ball a lot? How do you see that working at the next level?
I think he's more of a combo. I actually think Darren is better off the ball when he's not initiating offense, because he just is so quick with his decisions, and especially like getting a shot off. And it's better in a catch and shoot. Not that he struggles off the dribble, it's still very, very quick, but I would like to see him in a scenario where you slide another true point guard alongside him.
Krysten, as you can imagine, lottery and draft fever is starting to really gain a foothold here in Sacramento. We appreciate your time. We'd love to talk to you again soon. Thank you for all your insight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Great
Krysten Peek,
stuff.
NBA Draft Analyst, NBA.com.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff there. I got to have a conversation with you, though.
With me?
Yes.
Let's do it.